Hello and welcome to the Nova Show, Real Estate Records. I'm BreeAnn Motta, your host for today's episode. And joining me is Bill Spangler. Bill is a Utah real estate professional with more than 20 years of experience helping buyers and sellers navigate some of life's biggest decisions. Since entertaining the industry in 2004, he has built his business around relationships, trust, and a commitment to understanding each client's unique goals. His people-first approach and steady guidance, Bill has helped clients through changing markets and evolving industry trends. Today, we're talking about lessons that come from longevity, building lasting relationships, and what he's seeing in today's market. Let's dive in. Welcome, Bill.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, super excited to have you here. So let's dive in. Looking back into 2004, what was the biggest learning curve when you first got started?
I would say, I quit a job on base. I was like in the Air Force, and I worked at Hill Air Force Base. I was an aircraft mechanic. So, when I quit that job, I really didn't know what real estate was. I quit my job at Hill because I was frustrated with the boss I had, and I literally saw an ad in the newspaper, and it was offers near me, and the broker was doing, he was like looking for agents to recruit, and I literally called thinking it was like a job.
Okay.
And
really?
He got me into Stringham Real Estate School, and I got my license, but the learning curve was that there was no money unless you close deals.
Right.
And I literally didn't realize it until even after I passed the test. That's how naive I was about this.
So did you just jump right into real estate and quit your job? Like what?
Yeah, I quit.
What kind of started?
I quit the job. I had gotten a trust fund. This is kind of like a little bit embarrassing part, but it was like the door that opened for me. It was enough money that I was like able to defer my costs of living for maybe 6 months to a year, right?
Wow.
That money I completely feel like I wasted. I feel like it wasn't until that money ran out that I really lit the fires and got serious.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how that works, but I just don't think I did a lot of good things. My broker had me doing for sale by owners. I actually listed 5 homes in 30 days, and this was like my first year in the business kind of a thing. So I was really doing the things that he told me to do, but I wasn't organized. I just completely disorganized on every other level. I remember selling those first 5 listings and then, moving on to other listings and losing the key boxes. Like we had the old Risco boxes, and literally that's how disorganized I was. I'd have to go back a year in the MLS or drive around and try to find where I'd left these things. So obviously, I just never had run a business. I was in the military. I joined the military when I was 17. They trained me to be an aircraft mechanic. I did that. And then I did that when I got out briefly. And the experience that I had doing that in the civilian world it was probably more so the environment that I had on base back in that time was kind of different.
Yeah.
And so, I wanted to do something different. I thought I wanted control of my time. I didn't like the way they treated me.
Yeah.
I felt like I worked harder than the others.
Right.
And I was abused, and I was like, I don't know. I just wanted to do something where I knew this about real estate. I knew it was a career that you could make a pretty much unlimited amount of money. I just didn't realize that the unlimited was unlimited in the upward direction, and it was also really unlimited in the downward, because you can go in the hole quite far.
Yes. Yep,
and so it really is just about what you do with it and make of it. And so, but that was what I learned getting into it, was that it was difficult. There was no one going to pay my bills for me.
Yeah.
I had an agent give me that really good advice. And, I used to lean on my broker when I first got the job. Your brokers always give you these conservative advices, right? And there was this agent in my office who was like, hey, you got to start putting these deals together instead of letting them come together or trying to like, and he's like, and I said, well, so-and-so told me this. And he's like, well, is so-and-so going to pay your bills for you?
Yeah.
And I was like, and it changed my perspective.
Yeah, for
Not
sure.
that I do anything that's not on the up and up, but
Right.
like sometimes you take, I don't know, you might work with a client that you might feel like, hey, maybe my broker would think this is a waste of time, but there's just enough hope, or I know this situation just enough that I follow it. And I've seen people take bad advice and then have to turn around and backpedal on it. So just, go with your gut. I think when you're chasing, I don't want to say chasing money, because to me, it is about helping clients. But if you do this long enough, I think you're anyone who's done it long enough and doesn't say that the money part is important and you have to really, really try to like manifest all that. Otherwise, you wouldn't make it that long paying your bills and having a mortgage and all those things with a commission job,
for
right?
sure.
So
yes, that's so true. Thank you for your service. That's really awesome.
Oh,
that
thank
were in
you.
the military. I
That was
appreciate
my
it.
pleasure, actually. It was one of the most fun times of my life.
That's awesome. There we go, right?
Yeah.
How long were you in for?
6 years.
Okay.
And, I got out, I joined when I was 17. My parents had to sign off. And, when you're young, and I've known so many clients that are in the Air Force, and they'll be like in their first enlistment and they talk about wanting to get out. And I'm like, be careful. It's a lot better than you think.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say I wouldn't have got out of the military, but like, I realized it when I think that's what happened. I went from active duty to working at Hill at the depot, and in that civilian environment where we had like, we had a union and I had a boss that I didn't like and there wasn't much I could do about it.
Yeah.
It just felt a lot. It did not feel the same as the camaraderie and the team that I was used to there.
Yeah.
And I was
That's
disappointed.
Cool.
So I was like seeking something different, right?
Okay, that's
But
interesting.
they all thought I was crazy for quitting the base job. Like they literally sat me down and were like, "Are you okay?"
Really?
Yeah, because like nobody quits, kind of a thing.
Okay, interesting.
Except this guy.
Hey,
who
you know
sells
what though? You're doing amazing, and obviously it's paying off because you're succeeding in it. I mean, you're
Well,
awesome.
thank you.
So that's so cool.
Thank you.
Over the years, you've seen multiple market cycles. Which one taught you the most?
The market has changed significantly, like 3 times. I feel like.
Right.
When I first started, we were seeing this, and it almost seemed slow to many of us. It was like, hey, capital appreciation on housing was like 6% to 7%. And, there was these places around the country that were spiking, and part of us was like, oh, I wish it would happen here, They started going up, and I remember like, rates were when at like 05, 06, like, I think we had it a lot better than we realized. With like slow, steady appreciation, rates that were reasonable, even though, I remember having an 80-20 loan that was probably a 6 and an 8% loan,
Right.
But once, and I can't even remember, I guess it was like rates coming down initially. I remember before, I remember that the time when it really got bad was, and I can't remember before, and I don't know if I'm supposed to mention past presidents or not.
Yeah.
Before Obama was inaugurated, that whatever year that was, I want to say it might have been 09, leading into 2010.
Right.
But rates were kind of like where I was just mentioning, and I remember him saying on TV sometime in the fall that when I become president, I'm going to make rates 4%. And the market literally became paralyzed, and it already was really slow.
Yeah.
And I remember that was the beginning of a really tough time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And at that time, I remember like prices started to slip. And it was different. It was because back then, like half the people you talked to didn't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
So it was different economic forces. We really actually had it was an actual recession.
Yeah.
And so he was talking about lowering rates because we were facing an actual recession and we still had these higher rates. The housing market was already starting to suffer. People could see that. And then came, the mortgage debacle thing with like subprime mortgages.
Yeah.
And then it all came like half the homes on the market were bank owned or or short sales. So during that time I did a lot of short sales.
Okay.
So I learned to find a niche
There you
in
go.
that
Oh, that's
market.
cool.
And,
Okay.
you know, a lot of us, people who did it back then, it's like we learned that if we slammed a sign in the yard at a hot ticket price, we got buyers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we maybe ended up selling that listing. And so we learned how to work that market.
Yes.
And that's what I was going to say. Like somebody once gave me the book, Who Moved My Cheese? And it was during that time.
Okay.
And it was like, it literally is like what I needed to, like, someone moved my cheese. Like where I was getting my money moved. I was all sad and I couldn't see that it moved over here, and I just needed to. And so that's kind of what I learned from that. And then, you know, of course, like we come into COVID. That was the weirdest thing. I thought it was going to die. The market was going to die off. I remember driving to my last office every day on the freeway, and there was nothing but semis. No one was going to work. I was waiting. Are they going to shut down our license as well? And they never did. And then we entered the busiest markets, the busiest few years I've ever had in my career.
Yeah.
But they were tough.
Yeah. Right.
I had a year that I did 63 units, and it was like a blur. I didn't even, like at the end of the year, if you asked me how many deals did you close, I probably couldn't have told you within 20 of them. I might have said 40. I had no clue. It was just like, and it was like, to get buyers under contract, you were standing in the yard with all these other people waiting to look at the house.
Yes.
And it was just like, it was hard. I thought that was not, although like my income went up,
Right.
my spending went up.
Yeah.
My life completely became focused on only real estate.
Right.
And really then when in 2022, when rates in the summer went 2% up just because of like, I don't even, what even caused that? I can't remember what economic news caused that, but
Yeah.
you know, whatever happened, it was like within 2 weeks, rates had gone up to 8%. You know, it was insane.
Yeah.
And that was another moment where that was tough. Like I literally wanted to almost not do this anymore.
Really?
In 2022, I saw it coming. I saw how fast it was slowing down. And then I had really slow year, 2023. 24 and 24, I started to kind of wake back up.
Yeah.
I just realized that this is the new normal.
Yeah. And I think
rates are not going to go back down to 4.
I know, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I think that was a big awakening for a lot of people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think like kind of sparked that?
Well, okay. So one thing I learned, the first, I don't know, let's say until 2022, I was doing this completely by myself. I had no transaction coordinator. I had no assistant.
Wow.
I worked at a company with pretty good infrastructure, so that helped.
Okay.
But it's like, and they even tried to set me up with a TC so many times, and I would chicken out, and I would I'd meet them and everything, and then I would just never sign it, the contract, and finally, in around 2022, or I guess it was around whatever year, like the 2023, 2024, I started using a transaction coordinator who I still use today. That little change was so dramatic that it led to me being like, oh, what if I add a co-agent to all my listings and have that person handle scheduling? Because I hate that.
Yeah.
And what if I have them do some of my social media for me? And so it really expanded my knowledge of I guess I always thought that I had to pay someone by the hour, and I couldn't really afford that, or it was scary. But now that I realize, I'm like, no one gets paid till I get paid. That's how this world, that's how this industry is. And so every deal, anybody who helps me on stuff, I basically just pay them at the end. So once I realized that you could do that, I was like, that unlocks a lot of potential, because
Gives
you
you
can
more time.
basically just share you're just sharing what will come in the future. And so for people who are struggling, and I know a lot of agents who do a lot of production, and some are don't even have transaction coordinators, and they have that attitude like I used to have, well, I'm good at dot loop. Yeah, you're good at it at 1 a.m. Do you enjoy that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Do you like doing your paperwork at night? It's I get you can do it and save $400 a deal.
But at the same time, that's not, maybe not as much,
It's nothing, right?
Yeah.
So
it's just
so that was a big eye opener, is to
that's good. Okay.
get help. And that was
Yes.
another thing is like for new people, it's like, I think if you find a team or an experienced agent you can help, that would have like shortened my learning curve
Yes.
by,
Really?
I wouldn't have wasted the whole trust fund money.
Really?
Probably not.
Okay.
If I had guidance and
Yeah.
yeah.
So finding the team, a
I
team
think
and-
so.
yeah.
I think looking back, I would probably be on a team with at least the intention of like learning from them.
That's awesome.
And having like, even if I felt strongly about not wanting to be on a team as an agent, I'd be like, I don't know, if you're brand new, I would say just consider it. You can learn so much so fast,
I agree.
and some teams are really structured well to where you'd want to stay on them your whole career. It's like, if it's a good, you
Good
guys
for you.
have good resources and stuff. So
I love that. Yeah, I think that's really great. What's a lesson from your early career still influences how you work with clients today?
Trying to spot things and being observant while you're through the whole process. Like don't, when your client's getting pre-approved, when you're just trying to face everything right up front. Like if, and then the same thing with like shopping with houses. Like I know a lot of like brokers that tell you like, don't say the roof is good. Well, you're not going to say the roof is good, but like you'll have smoother deals and people will like you better if you point out bad things that you obviously see. I think that's okay to do. Like, I don't think that if you're pointing out things to them and you were to miss some, I've never had a client like in the end, the house we picked that was the best looking one that we all determined like we're looking. If like an inspection finds something, like I've never had someone turn around. Well, you said you said that one was better than the others. Like, well, we all thought so that day.
Right.
And that's really all you're doing is like, but like, don't be afraid to like, if you know what maketh a bad roof for sure, say it, because all you're going to do is get them into spent money on an inspection. They spent money on an appraisal and like, so just try to like learn those things as you go. And when you hit a roadblock in a deal, even if it explodes and fails, just try to remember like, okay, next time peeling paint all over the house isn't going to fly. So I should probably notice that ahead of time.
Right.
And then I did forever. Right.
Yeah.
And then, same thing with like any of us who've had to buy an appliance or something or fights over draperies. I tell the story. I have a story about a drapery fight that is unreal.
Are you serious?
And I tell people when I list the house, I ask them, I'm like, you leaving your blinds, you leaving your drapes. And they sometimes seem like I'm being like over. And then I tell them the drapery story and they want there.
That's so true.
Like, the more things you can like try to remember from those things in the future, as you proceed through your career, your deals will become easier and easier and you'll seem to be magically blessed with all this good luck. That's really not good luck. It's just like
the knowledge behind it.
Right? So I try not to be disappointed when stuff dies. There was an agent in my office, recently that, they'll have things that come up and there are challenges. And I was telling them like, try to like, it's hard to do that in the moment, but like you're earning money that moment, even when you're losing that battle. Yeah. And then you're gaining like all that knowledge that now I see it. I'm like, that's for the next 20 years, you're not going to have this problem ever again.
Yeah, exactly. Like you'll remember that, right? And then you'll be able to point that out for the next transaction and you won't worry, you'll run into it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And plus too, like I feel like if they see you kind of doing that, that's you kind of like, kind of protecting them.
Right, totally.
Right? And so, and building their trust. So I think that's great. Yeah, for sure. After helping so many clients, what do you think people underestimate most about buying or selling a home?
I would say the challenges that can arise and the amount of time that it can take to work through those.
Okay.
I think like, back when I first started doing this, it was very common. We had way more for sale by owners.
Yeah.
In fact, there were so many, that was my whole listing prospecting strategy was FSBOs. That's all. Okay. Basically all I did. There was just plentiful targets. There was a lot of us doing them, but it was just seemed like obvious and easy, right?
Right.
But I think that's died off.
Yes.
Because people over the years from the DIY era, that was also the era where everyone remodeled their house themselves and watched those shows on TV. which the
recommended.
the remodel show era.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so everything needed to be replaced every 5 years because
They didn't do it right. And
right. So, my brain rambled. I did it free. I rambled off to where I forgot where I was.
But see, like that's what you were talking about. So it's like remodeling, in the sense of, or the era of people like,
the underestimating.
Yes.
Yeah. The unknown things that can come up. That's
Yes.
what I think they underestimate in the amount of time. Yeah. That's what, appraisal issues, working through inspection issues. I think when you try to do that yourself, you learn why, real estate is a job.
Yes.
And this is all another thing that is good to like remember when you're dealing with tough transactions. And my dad said this to me once because I was whining about how hard my deals were I was working on. He's like, well, if it wasn't a pain, there'd be no need for you.
Right. Everybody would be doing it, right? Yeah, exactly.
Right. It
yeah.
wouldn't be every job there is because it's some undesirable kind of thing that has to be completed, right? So it's like, that is the job, is working them through those things. And the fun part is, getting to the end and seeing the results.
Yeah. I think that's amazing.
And following up with them over the years. And that's really wild to see. In 2004, I can think of a family that like these kids were like little. And then I watch them become adults. I sell one of them a house. I watch them get into like title and escrow. Like I literally watch these like toddlers.
Yes.
And it's happened so fast. So that's another thing. I wish I would have remembered the kids' names better in the beginning. Like don't underestimate like the little kid walking around. Like
remember those things.
It's going to be you'd be surprised how fast they, the parents will be saying, hey, so-and-so, and their boyfriend's looking for a place or whatever. And you're like, Right.
I know. Yeah. It's just building the relationships and keeping up with them.
Yep,
Because I mean, how many years later and then they were able to still connect with you and send them referrals that way.
Yeah. It's really cool to see.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. I love that with the lending part too. It was always fun. You often talk about understanding clients' goals and needs. How do you build that trust early in the relationship?
By just asking questions and listening.
Yeah.
I usually I do a lot of like incoming relocation type buyers, and a lot of that starts on the phone. And those phone calls usually make me nervous because I'm like, it's like a first impression.
Yeah.
And then they're going to fly out for a house hunting trip and it's serious. And
yes.
So I really outline what I want to ask them on the call, and just try to listen to what their needs are, and then just build on that, like at every time you meet with them. And I mean, most of it is about showing them homes, right? So and as you're doing that, for me anyway, I'm asking in a casual manner questions about their lives and things, trying to dial in further and further as you go and try to connect with them. I mean, it's really just like it goes hand in hand, like forming a connection.
Yeah.
And then you're learning more. And if you have that attitude about it, then none of it seems like a waste of time ever. Yeah. It all seems fun.
Yeah. I like that.
You seem relaxed and people, it works that way. So, yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that's a really good one. What are buyers and sellers most concerned about right now when they come to you?
I think probably interest rates. I don't think anyone worries about market crashes as much as I used to hear, those kind of, I think it's mostly just, all these the reality is set in, interest rates are the way they are. I think most people that want to do it have wanted to for a while. They've been kind of watching things. Some of them wonder if it'll get better, but I think they want to do it, but they're just, I feel like they mostly just want to understand the costs and educate themselves, right? So
yeah, definitely.
I think that's really all you can do. Whenever rates have changed, I've never really, I even once had to do a refinance when the rates were bad, and I told myself, I'm like, if you're doing this for a financial strategy, think like a big corporation. They don't sit around crying about current rates if they have to borrow money for a project. They move on. Life is what it costs today. And so that's what I try to
I love that.
think of.
That's great. Yeah.
Do what you need today. And usually when I give that little speech, that helps buyers with
Yes. Well, but it comforts them a little bit more, right?
Just and knows is like people are doing this, even though
Yes.
you think it might seem crazy because at one time you had a 4% or a 3%, but like millions of people are doing this. This is today. This is the reality.
Exactly.
So it's not silly. It's just
how we have to adapt.
Yeah, and economics is weird, right? Like, was life much better when rates were low? Not really.
Right.
I mean, everything flows and like some things get cheaper. I mean, I don't know. Economics is so weird. I've never.
I know. I can't ever get like a hang of like, oh, this, oh, that. Like,
I've taken classes and everything, like, and I still like try to build this picture in my head of this macroeconomic world, and I don't see it. I don't know. Confusing. It just seems like fudge to me, and I think a lot of it could be. So I just try to survive in my lane.
Yes, right. And that's I think that that's the most simplest thing that you can like offer somebody is to just like focus on what their goal is.
Yes.
Right.
Not worry about all the rest of it.
Exactly. I love. That's great advice. I think that's awesome. How do you think clients' expectations have changed over the last 20 years? And where do you?
They've really kind of gone up and down. Like I said in the beginning, when I first started doing this, it was kind of like, it seemed like everyone could get a house. Mm-hmm. So the attitude was like the American dream, attainable for everyone, to the point where I almost think, I don't know, it's just like, I don't want to say they didn't, the remodeling thing, I got caught up in that too. Now I think about it, I'm like, I'm thriftier.
Right.
I'm like, why would you tear these things out? They're still good. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think people have become thriftier.
Yeah.
Which I think is good.
Yeah.
Because there used to be a lot of that where like, it really felt like that. If something was out of date just by, 5 to 10 years, buyers were literally like,
oh, I don't
and it's still kind of like that. I've had a buyer once that said they would not buy anything without white cabinets.
Okay.
Which maybe, some people are that style sensitive
That's true.
But others might see a home that has wooden cabinets that are a little dated, but the overall style of the home, they just love it. Right.
Okay.
I just think people are a little thriftier than they were then, probably because of economics.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's changed a lot.
Yeah.
What's really interesting to see is how, this is what's weird, payments. My first house payment was $600.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's weird to see the same population spending $4,000 and $5,000 a month that thought 1,000 was crazy.
Right.
When I started.
Yeah. Yes.
And so, I don't know, this kind of going on a tangent, but what it kind of tells me is like, in the future, a normal starter house will be $3 million.
Yeah.
And a gallon of milk will be $30. And it's just
right?
really strange.
I don't want it to be. But
right. And then there's that balance
to.
between how much people make and how much.
Yep.
I see the people were way more, it's like they're thriftier about some things, but the level of money that people spend now blows me away compared to what the level of money they spent in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Myself included.
Yeah. I agree.
Like I just remember people arguing over $2,000 and now $2,000 is just like blows in the wind and it's no big deal. So it's just weird to watch, I guess, inflation and the economic effect.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I think that's huge, it is something that we have to all
think about. So if I had to think of how everyone changed, I don't know. I guess we spend more. Yeah. We kind of make more.
Yeah.
I think we're, more accepting to like the way things might be. I see people more so keeping things as they are, but others might disagree. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just kind of your experience with it or how you perceive it.
Yep. That's true.
Because it's just changed so much.
That's true. I think change is inevitable, obviously, and you have to either learn to adapt and go with the changes or, you're going to be stuck, right?
Yeah. Where you won't generally get pushed out of business, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Adapting. That's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Just continue to adapt.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. When a transaction becomes stressful, how do you help clients stay focused and confident?
I try to keep them focused on the big picture and where it all started. I have, literally the last couple of days I've been negotiating some repairs on a listing, and it's like, sellers can get an attitude where they feel like the buyer's trying to not manipulate or take advantage, but just,
Right.
They feel like they're asking too much for the things. And then the buyer, of course, has the opposite view. And
Yes.
I think I try to make people see, I've always done this. I try to make people see the other person's viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And then really just try to keep them focused on the goal. And then also not to scare people, I guess, common ground, remind them of the goal, and then remind them what might happen if they don't compromise at this moment. I think it's important.
Yes.
Is to kind of warn them, okay, and I kind of, this worked, recently, and somebody is talking about repairs, right? And if a buyer wants 10 grand or something like that, and your seller might emotionally at that moment not want to do it. But if you just say, and it's hard to figure out how to say this, and sometimes I really talk through it, but you want to tell them that if we don't, we had all this activity, we had the one offer, then it kind of slowed down. If we put it back on the market, what if we have to drop the price 10 grand?
Yeah.
Just to get the activity, and usually that just kind of it's not like you're trying to be negative or trying to but you're just telling them the reality is you might be wishing that you had done this later. And now we're done today. Exactly. And so I think usually when I do that, it kind of and then people need time too. Yeah. And try not to force them. A lot of time, any decision I really present anyone with, I always tell them, hey, you guys can get back to me whenever, no rush or whatever, even if it is a rush. Yeah. Just don't tell the other side, they're thinking about it. Yeah. I think that's the worst thing you can do
is rush them.
Is rush anyone to make a decision. And
I agree.
Because usually they'll go the other way.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
They'll run away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. That's so true. Yeah. I like that though. For someone considering a real estate career today, what advice would you give them?
I think that finding a mentor, a team, a brokerage, just find people that are successful in it at whatever, and doesn't mean they have to sell the most, because selling the most does not mean the most successful, in my opinion.
I agree.
But find a group of people that you like or that you trust, and then learn from those people. Yeah. And I think if they're the right people, they'll share their knowledge. They'll let you do open houses. They'll there's so many experienced agents out there that have been doing it a long time. If they're not using co-agents, they really should think about that, because there's a lot of tasks that you really could have someone else do. Yeah. And that helps them get used to the rhythm and flow.
Yes, I like that.
And so that's what I would say. Just try to find more experienced people that are willing to help you.
I like that. Yeah. That's awesome. After more than 2 decades in the industry, what still excites you about helping people buy and sell homes?
I think just helping them. I think the first-time buyer thing is definitely for sure. Yeah. I was trying to think helping people buy or seeing them get the key. But it does lose its excitement as, when someone's on their 5th home, it's just different.
Right. Yeah, right. Well, and I think the experience with the people, right?
Yeah, and they may not, you may not even hand them off. You know, it just becomes just different, right? Yeah. But first time buyers, I don't know. I just think I remember how scary that was. My first house I bought in Roy when I moved here and worked at Hill. I came from Idaho, and I got a job at Hill, and my house was $97,000. I did not want to go over 100 or something. Yeah. And there was one I loved up on the East Bench of Ogden that was 140, but it was just unattainable, right? Right. But so I bought this one I didn't really like out in Roy. So it's fun to watch them overcome those fears and challenges and actually do it and get the keys. That's cool because it changes them. Then after that, you can see that they see it's it's not as scary.
Right.
I think I've only rented a couple of homes like with roommates. Like I think renting's scarier. Like you can't sell or like I always tell them, I'm like, you can sell your house if you don't like it.
Right. That's so true.
Right. I mean, it's like, so it's not really any more of a commitment. It's not like, I think taking a new job's a bigger commitment.
It is.
Yeah.
Super scary. Right.
Yeah. So
yeah. But yeah, I think that like the first time buyer, I think too is pretty fun because then that way too, it's like you're starting their journey with, like, you know,
it's like a whole new world.
Yeah.
You know, that's what when I bought my first house, my dad told me, he's like, oh, it's going to help so much. You'll be surprised. It's going to help so many things.
Yeah.
Helps with taxes. And really, you just, the more and more you like, you have it, the more you can't realize you can't imagine not having your own place, and then two, some of those benefits that you get.
Yeah. The knowledge behind owning rather than renting or,
Yeah.
That's, educating them, I think, is fun too. Yeah. That's
cool.
Yeah,
it
I
is.
like that.
Totally.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. You are amazing. Thank you again for your service. You are killing it in this industry.
I'm trying to.
No, you are amazing. So
I want to make the next 20 years different than the first 20.
Hey, you got
just better.
You got it.
You know, so
it all up
it was
from
good,
here,
but I just want it to be better. So
up and downs, obviously, but it's all up from here.
Yeah, totally.
For sure. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate, failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Novation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.